Hi, I'm Nicola and I'm just starting a cut flower garden. I would like you to join along in my journey to see the ups and downs. I'm sure there'll be plenty of mistakes this season, and hopefully we can learn together. Hopefully I can share some tips and tricks that you find useful, so please stay tuned. And today you join me on the second night after the setup of my new wormery. The wormery I purchased was from Worm City. It came with the full kit, so it had the unit, it had the worms, worm food, and a block of coir that forms bedding. So the only thing that I additionally added in was some shredded paper to I think that is an additional bit of food. I don't know. Anyway, we'll go over that later. Suffice it to say, last night or yesterday morning, first morning, I went to look to see what happened with the worms, and there were a few escapees overnight. I'd covered it with a black bin liner. I didn't have a bin liner that was big enough to cover the whole thing, as was suggested in the instructions. I didn't have a bin liner that was big enough to cover the whole unit. So I put one underneath and one on the top and kind of did my best to cover it. The result was it did capture some. I don't know whether any more escaped into the real world. There was some left in the wormery. So this is the second morning and I'm going to go on a worm hunt again. See what's escaped, see what we have left. Come with me. Just before we go, I just thought I would take a moment it's first thing in the morning, before I get involved in the jobs of the day. I thought I'd take a moment to appreciate what there is here. I'm just sitting in a little shaded alcove in the garden, and beside me I have my annual sweet peas. These grow every year. They get more every year. If I just lean over, is it going to show it? No, I will. Let me switch the camera around and show you the full display. There we go. Now that is just a riot of colour. It is glorious. I do nothing each year. I perhaps should weed it, but I just think it looks lovely. It's actually no good for cutting because the flowers are, let me show you, on such small stems and very fine stems, and there is no fragrance, and what you want from a sweet pea is good fragrance. Beautiful colours. I use the tips for cutting, so I cut out long strips and just have those floating in the arrangements, but the flowers as they stand, I can't, they're not good for cutting. I did cut a little crop of them, but they're so short, it's just really not worth it. So here, hidden among all of the bins, or with the bins, is my wormery, right in the corner here. This is the shadiest place in the garden. No sun appears here, it seems, so I thought this was the best. So let me see if I can position this camera somewhere so we can see, take off the covers and see if anything's escaped or not. With the camera held by a branch of a rose. Let's see what we've got. dogs have come to investigate as well. Oh, there we go, first one. Oh, and another one. So we have one worm here. Another one. And another one. 3. I think that's it clean. So there we have 3 escapees so far. So let me just put that back. They are wiggly. So I put a layer of cardboard in. There we go. Back you go. Let's knock those 2 in. Look. Right, and there's some round the back here in this bottom bit. So let me just check. I don't make it easy on myself. Would be round the back, wouldn't it? And I would have tassels at the same time. You see. Oh, just the one. I think that is it. Now they may have escaped during the night, but more may have escaped during the night. I remembered about covering it about 1:30 this morning, so came out and put the cover on, which was in the dark, so it wasn't the best job. So more may have escaped that I couldn't capture. But 3 this morning is better than 10 yesterday morning, so that's a success. While we're here, this is the wormery. So apparently some fluid comes into that. So as they munch, it goes into there and collects. Nothing there yet, it's far too soon. It's quite heavy. And I believe, let's rescue that. I believe that liquid is supposed to be nutrient rich, so we should be able to add fertilisation and nourishment to the soil from the liquid. So if nothing else, that's what I'm hoping to get, is collecting that liquid in that sump at the bottom. The area where the worms are themselves, look, the 4 that I've put in already have disappeared, or they're going down. I don't really want to prod around too much, but there is a layer. Oh, look at that. A layer of coir. I put a let's say a couple of handfuls of garden soil stroke compost in there as well, which is what you're seeing in there. And you are also seeing, so this here is probably the coir, this here is the garden soil, and then this here, the kind of yellowy colour, is the compost. The worm food. Now I made a mistake straight away. It said, the instruction said, put a handful of worm food in, and it was a bag, and there wasn't that much in there, and I could see nothing else on the instructions after that setup that said do anything else with the feed. So I thought, oh well, that must be the handful, someone's handful. So I poured the lot in. finished tidying up, put all of the soaked paper shreddings, sat down with my cup of coffee, and then read the next thing about feeding the worms. Not to do it for 2 weeks with your own waste, and to use the worm feed, 1 handful every 2 weeks. I'd already put the lot in, so already I'm overfeeding my worms. So we shall see whether there is anything more to be, whether they like it or not. But yep, all of those have hid. They don't like the light, so me moving things means that they're burying more. But that's the wormery, day 2. Day 3, let's see what we've got in the worm bin today. Oh. No escapees. So, no, doesn't seem like it. No escapees, so let's see if there's anything in. There could be no worms left. Oh. We have some. They're in. So, day 3, and we have no escapees. It rained a little bit yesterday, and it rained a little bit overnight. So the worms have been brought up to the top of the wormery, which is what we saw, why we saw them in the lid and at the top. And there's still worms in the wormery, thank goodness, so they haven't all escaped without me knowing. So yes, we'll see tomorrow if it works, if there's no escapees, and in which case I'll stop covering it and hope that they've all settled in nicely and start making some compost for me. Day 4, let's see what we've got. So no escapees, but this time we've got worms, but we also seem to have a bit of mould growing. I don't know whether that's right or wrong, so I might go and investigate and see what that is. But other than that, everything looks good. We've got worms squiggling around, so let's see what happens next. It's been nearly 2 weeks now, and I'm just about to do my first feed of the worms. I haven't checked in here for a few days, so I've no idea what it's going to look like in there, and if indeed we've got any worms left. But let's see. Oh yeah. So I've been told that I need to feed them from one corner and not give them too much, and then see how that goes. So I'll see what I can find. Oh, and also it needs to be underneath the window. I really need to get a better tripod for this. Needs to be underneath the shredded paper. Don't really know why, but that's what it says. So there was lots of lovely worms in there, so they haven't all escaped, so that's a good thing. I will see how that broad bean pods, I'll see how that goes over the next few days and make sure that it's been eaten, and we'll take it from there.